expressed on this show are those of the host and are not meant to diagnose or treat any particular medical issue. Always check with your doctor or eye care professional before making any changes to your vision care. Now the talk continues on Entertaining Talk Radio, NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. This is Healthy Eyes with Dr. C, live from the Best Buy studios at NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM, every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. For many of us, our eyes are more than just a window to our world. They're part of how people perceive us, how we look, as well as how we see ourselves and others. There's so much more to healthy eyes than just their shape and color. Get in on the conversation. Call 480-423-1260 right now and find out how to keep your world in sharp focus for many years to come. Now with Healthy Eyes, here is your host, Dr. C.
Well, 7 minutes after the hour at NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. Good afternoon. This is Healthy Eyes. We are live. It's pretty funny. We have about a couple of dozen, I guess there's maybe a couple of hundred people here. We are at St. Katherine, Greek Orthodox Church at Dobson and Elliott. And welcome to the show, Dr. C. Thanks, Mark. And it's kind of interesting. It's the first live show we've done together as a remote out here. We have a lot of people that are listening to us, taking pictures, and preparing to dance, which is something that doesn't typically happen on an eye care show.
Yeah, when are you on?
What's that?
When are you on dancing?
Oh, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be on, but you are dancing, aren't you?
Yeah, we're on later. I think about 9 o'clock.
Okay. And about 9 o'clock, I think it's sometime around 8:30, 9 o'clock in that area?
Yeah.
So people don't miss it. They want to be here at 8:30.
Oh, yeah. They're going to come around 7 to have dinner anyway, so they'll be warmed up by the time we go on.
That's true. Did you want to talk about some of what's going on here to get started? And then we'll get into introducing your guest, Dr. Morgan.
Sounds good,
which I almost did.
Since we're here at the festival anyway. No, we're here at Dobson Elliott, or just south of Elliott on Dobson, St. Catherine's Greek Orthodox Church. We'll be here all day today, tonight till probably about 10 or 11 o'clock. And we're here tomorrow from 11 to 7. So come on by. There's great Greek food and desserts. Everything, all the desserts are made by the ladies of the parish, and good stuff. As far as dinners go, we got lamb dinners, chicken dinners. We have the tomatas, which are stuffed gravy. We have pastito. We have, feta on olives and salads. And we have all kinds of stuff. We got the saganaki, the fried cheese, and we got the Greek band out there. They really don't play too well, but we like them so much. I say that only because the drummer is standing right in front of me, so I'm allowed to say that. But come on out. It's a lot of fun, and the food's great. That's what it's all about. We got Greek beer, we got the Muzo and the Tata, which is a brandy, and come on out.
Sounds good. And so what else is over here? Greek beer, brandy, and then what about that thing that's rotating on the spit over?
Well, we just put a lamb on the spit, and that lamb's going to be on for about 4 hours, so at about 6 o'clock, we'll be taking that lamb off, and we carve it up, and we sell it. I can't remember what we're selling it for this year. I think it's like $12 a pound. But we'll sell it to you hot off the spit.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very good. You like lamb that way, because the lamb dinners in the food booth in the community center are lamb shank that they bake with a tomato type of sauce. And that's also very good. But it's not roasted lamb like we have on the spit.
But there is roast chicken available.
Sure.
And that's like roast chicken. And they have chicken dinners also. So I guess they've got the rice, and green beans, and all that kind of stuff. That's interesting. You have some of the little dancers over here. The littler guys are coming over here. Can you guys dance to this stuff? Can you dance to this kind of music?
They're looking at me like I look at you.
I don't think so.
That's how I look at you.
Look at this. She's going, give me some of these tickets to buy the food and the drink, and I will dance for you. Go ahead, dance, you guys. Let's watch them dance. Okay, hang on. Katherine, grab this mic here. Katherine is one of the dancers, and she's going to tell us what's going on. How do you do this kind of dance to this kind of?
Well, this song's very simple. All you do...
Move away from just the speaker there. There you go.
This song's very simple. All you have to do is cross, behind, kick, kick. Very simple.
And we're at Dobson and Elliott, by the way. If you want to come on in,
Casserole, you should have had.
Casserole.
Absolutely.
So go ahead and do it with the kids here.
Teresa, come dance with me. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's it, and that's the whole thing. It looks really complex.
That's the whole thing.
Mark, even you could do this.
Okay. I will do this afterwards. If you guys want to come down and take a look and see what it looks like, I don't know if you're going to be happy. Why? Okay, participate. Come down and dance. Don't just come down to watch. But take a look at that. It's cool. Okay, Dr. Street, we are here basically brought your guest to come because there was a couple of special things that happened last week that we actually announced for the first time ever anywhere on our show.
That's correct. And so what we wanted to do today is I wanted to bring Dr. Morgan back, and I'll introduce him in a second. But we talked a little bit about a new lens. We talked about it will hopefully help us reducing the incidence of macular degeneration. And rather than just talk about that lens, I thought we'd go back to one of our previous shows and just talk about macular degeneration from the very beginning again, so we can talk about where this lens comes into our armamentarium, so to speak, against this disease. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Gary Morgan. He's HealthyEyes Associates in Peoria, Arizona. Gary, welcome to the show, Dr. Morgan.
Thanks very much.
And for those of you that have been listening to the show from the beginning, Dr. Morgan's been on with us before, and then he was on with us last week from Atlanta. I called in from Atlanta. I was there for a conference where they announced a new lens that was going to be coming out in the near future called the Blue Tech lens. And so, again, before we talk about that lens, I want to go back and talk to Dr. Morgan a little bit about macular degeneration. Gary, why don't you give us just a quick overview about incidence and prevalence of macular degeneration?
First, tell us what it is, because there are a lot of people listening. Why is it important, and why is there so much emphasis on it now as opposed to, even just a couple of weeks ago?
Sure. Well, macular degeneration is a disease that affects your central vision. It's really based on a lifetime of oxidative damage to the back of your eye. And there's a lot of different things that can contribute to that oxidative damage. One of them is our family history. Another one is smoking. People that have high blood pressure, that have atherosclerotic disease can be at higher risk. And a big risk factor for developing the disease is our exposure to blue wavelength light, and in particular, our cumulative lifetime exposure to blue wavelength light. So it can be one of those things, a few of those things, a combination of them that over time can lead to this damage to the back of our eye that can destroy our central vision. Now, as far as the incidence goes, we're going to see macular degeneration really reach what would be considered epidemic proportions over the next 10 to 20 years. In fact, I read a statistic it was put out by the American Cancer Society that said the prevalence of all cancers in 2008, the last time they had a tally, was about 11 million people. We'll have, by most estimates, more than double that many of people, or that number of people with macular degeneration by 2020.
That's pretty amazing as far as the incidence and how it's going to increase in the population, because what we talk about in our profession a lot is that, the baby boomers are just starting to hit 65. And this is called age-related macular degeneration, so it does tend to increase as we get older. So as this big portion of our population is starting to age, we're going to start seeing more and more of this disease.
So if people who are listening, what's the likelihood that someone who either hasn't been to an eye care professional at all, or has been to an eye care professional and maybe it's been a while, might have it?
Well, I can tell you that, as far as to just touch on the population, an interesting statistic is that every day for the next 20 years, 10,000 people will turn age 65. And that's the baby boomers. If you're over 60, currently you have a 1 in 10 chance of having macular degeneration. If you're over 70, your chance is 1 in 4. So, a very large percentage of our population will be afflicted by this problem.
And then, Dr. Chrisagis, you had asked some specific questions. I interrupted. Sorry for that thing.
Oh, no, it's okay.
I just want to kind of establish why we're talking about this now.
Right. It's just a general conversation. Sometimes I get off onto the more complex issues, and I forget the other questions. So it's great. You can come in anytime you want. But as far as the, we've talked a long time about the genetic aspect of macular degeneration also. Dr. Morgan, would you like to talk a little bit about not only the genetic aspect, but the tools we have now to assess that?
Sure. Macular degeneration, there's, 70% of it is inherited. And we now have a genetic test called a macular risk test that we can take a swab of the inside of somebody's cheek, send the swab to the laboratory, and it will give us back a result that shows that person's risk of developing severe macular degeneration. Some people will come back very low risk, where even though they may have the disease, they only have maybe a 2.5% chance that they would develop the severe form or wet macular degeneration, where they may lose their vision. On the other hand, some people at higher risk may have a 25, 45, or even a 75% risk of developing severe disease. So with this tool, knowing somebody's risk, we can now take those high-risk patients and see them more frequently, use the other tools that we have in our office, scanning technologies, the back of the eye, to monitor for the development of the more severe form of the disease, because we have good treatment. Wet macular degeneration occurs when oxidative damage inside the eye gets to the point where new blood vessels grow and leak. And when those vessels leak, the blood is what destroys the vision. And we now have medications that can be injected into the eye that will stop those vessels from leaking and preserve vision.
So when the leakage occurs, is that what we see as floaters and flashes specifically, or is it like we see a black thing in our, we just see a black area, or like a burn in an old camera lens, or video camera lens, or what does that look like?
The flashes and floaters are totally unrelated to that. The flashes and floaters typically occur in the vitreous, and they could be associated with retinal detachment. Macular degeneration is a slow process that occurs, and it's in your central vision, and it just tends to blur your vision as it occurs. The dry macular degeneration will be a very slow process. A lot of patients first notice a real big reduction of vision when it goes wet. And so that's why, through this whole process of genetic testing, as Dr. Morgan is alluding to, if we can detect it, if we know the genetics, and someone has a higher risk, we'll see them back in the office more often, because the sooner we can catch it going to wet, and the sooner they can get an injection to stop that leakage, the better their prognosis is going to be.
Once it goes wet, it's not going back to dry ever.
Well, no, it can, and that's just using the medication. Eventually, the blood vessels can be sealed,
so you can reverse it,
so that we can preserve vision.
Right. But what's the first thing you got to do? You got to detect it.
We have to detect it. But more importantly, whenever we talk about an epidemic, and the disease reaching epidemic proportions, well, what do we do to try and stem the tide? It might be we improve hygiene, or we have medications, we have quarantine. Well, that's not the case with macular degeneration. So, really, what we can do now, though, is we have steps that we can take to try and stop this coming tide of vision loss through the use of preventive measures, either through nutritional supplementation or, as we'll talk about, the new blue tech lenses.
Okay, we are live. This is, by the way, Healthy Eyes. We are on NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. We are live from the Taste of Greece. It's the Greek Food Festival at Dobson and Elliott. And we also have some video production going on at the same time. Michael Miller is with us from post-production. And Michael is shooting all of the new HD commercial video and all of the broadcast B-roll video for our next festival, which will be in October. And just wanted to give a shout-out to Michael, and he's actually in the process of shooting us at this time. If you're interested in having a wedding event or any kind of meeting videotaped and you want broadcast-quality HD footage, same stuff you'd be asking for if you were on a newscast or any live broadcast, you can give them a call. 480-862-2017 is Michael's phone number. Again, that's 480-862-2017, or you can visit his website at www.post-productions.com. It's post-productions.com. So we were talking about a couple of things just before we got into our conversation about AMD and the new blue, I don't want to call it blocking technology, because I think that's actually a brand name of some glasses that are being marketed.
The blue tech lens.
Okay, the blue tech lens. Yeah. So when we're seeing blue blockers and the things that are on TV and the things that help, is that something that essentially does what this product does, or is there any relationship? Well, that's a complex one. I mean, it's not an easy one. Yeah. You guys look at each other, it's like, how do you answer?
Well, as far as, the lenses that we're used to that are blue blocking lenses, those lenses will block 100% of blue wavelength light and below. So, yes, they are providing protection against AMD. The only problem is when you block blue wavelength light in such a way that no blue is transmitted, it severely affects your color perception. So when you wear those lenses, anything that is within the blue or violet portion of the visible spectrum, visible light, is going to appear as black. And after you've worn them for a while, when you take them off, it'll also continue to affect your color perception. Yellow school bus might look pink after you take those lenses off. So that's been the downside of wearing those blue blocker lenses. Blue tech lenses are different. They block the harmful effects of blue wavelength light, which is, if we look at it on a scale, it's about 480 nanometers. But they let through everything 500 nanometers and above, which is green wavelength light. But in doing so, they do not affect color perception. So your color perception is completely normal. In fact, there is a test called the Munsell 100Q color test, where you can take that test wearing these lenses and do fine on it. So that's a huge step forward as far as, your ability to wear this lens, protect your eyes, especially, say somebody's using a computer and wearing them, and they need to be able to perceive color, they're a graphic designer or something, they can wear these lenses, protect their eyes, and still, perform their job.
Wow. If you'd like to call it and you have a question, you want to know anything about the new technology, how it differs from what's been out there, what that means to you, any questions about AMD, if your parents have it, does it mean you might be likely to have it, any of those kind of questions, 480-423-1260 is the number to call to get in on the conversation. Again, 480-423-1260. It's 22 minutes after the hour. You're listening to Healthy Eyes on NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. I'm executive producer Mark Shander, and Dr. C is the host of the show. And Dr. C, some of quick questions. I'm trying not to do this, but how do you season the stuff that you're barbecuing out there? How do you throw it on the spit, and this might not be related to eye care too much, except you don't want to get any of the juice in your eye. You squeeze the lemon. How do you not get that stuff all over you? And what are you seasoning?
You do get it all over you, but that's part of the fun, yes. So the way we season the lamb that goes on the spit, the way we season everything else is a little bit different, but the spices that we use are basically just garlic salt, oregano, salt and pepper, and that's about it.
How do you know when it's done?
Now, what, are you talking about the lamb?
Yeah.
Well, when it screams, it'll.
Oh, that's so sad.
What we do is we have to measure the temperature, only because the county. And,
if you didn't have the stuff like that, and you were just going by, the old style, they didn't have thermostats and stuff, and they just, it's done.
We can pretty much tell when it's done. We have to take a temperature just to make sure we've got the.
How close are you when you think it's done to it really being done?
We know it's pretty close. It's going to be on there. It's going to be on there for 4 hours, and we control the temperature by moving the coals around, so we know what's happening. You can tell by the skin on the outside when it's wet. Yeah, basically you watch for when it starts to sweat, and then you let it go a little longer. Then you got to take it off before you think it's done because it's going to cook a little while longer after that. And you want to leave it, in our estimation, we leave it a little bit on the rare side because if it gets a little too well done, it gets too dry. You just like any other type of meat like that. You don't want to get too dry, and then when you peel it off the bone, it's just great, delicious stuff.
And by the way, if you like Greek food at all, this is definitely the place to be. I mean, besides for pasticcio and all the pastries and all the Greek food, they have Greek fries out here. They have incredible amounts of food. There's drink specials. If you ever wanted to try some wine that's Greek wine that's difficult to get a hold of, or you might not
Greek beer
and Greek beer.
Yep.
Absolutely. It's all here for you to try. They also have I'm going to go back to the Greek fries for a second because last festival was the first time I'd ever seen these things. And it's like crumbled cheese, the Greek feta cheese,
yep,
with a sauce.
A sauce that has some lemon in it, salt, pepper.
I just didn't think that would be good on like French fries, but it really good.
It's pretty good.
So anyway, if you can't make it here to the festival, you can actually go to Dobson and Elliott, and there's a drive-through where you can place an order, and you can get whatever you'd like, whether it be lunch or dinner or whatever you want. You can actually get lunch and dinner delivered to you, which is incredible.
Well, we actually felt that some people maybe didn't come by because they didn't have time to try and find a parking place, come in, get admission, spend money on admission, just to come in and grab some food. So we figured maybe we'd make all the fast food places do pretty well with drive-throughs. We thought maybe we'd put a drive-through up there. People would come by and order something to eat and then take off and go home. And last festival was the first festival we had it. And it went okay, but we knew that as people learned it was there, it would get better. And so we're building on it.
Nice, okay. Well, there's dancing, there's the Grecian Express, and if it's okay, we got to talk to Tony.
if we have to.
All right, I got to get permission to talk to Tony because
because it is my show.
It is your
Yeah.
Just want to make sure it's okay. All right, Tony, come on over and just for a brief moment before we get back, tell us about the Grecian Express and how long have you guys been together and what kind of music do you play? What type of Greek music?
Well, let's see. We play all kinds of Greek music, the newer stuff, the older stuff, the fun stuff. We're an up-tempo, fun dance band. We're playing we started about an hour ago. We're playing until, I guess, about 9 or 9:30 tonight, 10 o'clock, depending on when the neighbors throw us out there.
It's got a good dance.
We try. Incidentally, I was just curious. I had a macular degeneration question. If I worked at McDonald's, I have a big macular degeneration. Is that possible? No?
Yeah, there's one in every cottage.
And I tried to call from my drum. By the way, the drummer's really good. We expect her to come up and dance this afternoon and have a good time. And the drive-thru's open, and everybody's dancing and having a good time. We're drinking a little Greek beer, a little American beer, enjoying it. The baklava sundaes are outstanding.
Now, you know why I had to ask permission for this first.
We may not get the mic back.
I know. I gave it to him, but I had control here still. Oh, man, I'm so glad I went through training on this stuff.
I am wearing my glasses that I got from Dr. C, and I can see fabulous. See there? The transitions, they go dark to light. You see that, Mr. Video Man? Dark to light. See there? Isn't that cool?
By the way,
I don't know about all that fancy stuff, but I just know dark to light.
Even indoors, dark to light.
Yeah. I mentioned you said something last week about not working in your vehicle. Why did you tell me that? I didn't know that. You said that. You ruined my whole day. I thought they worked great. Then I looked at my rearview mirror, and they were clear. Thank you. Thank you for nothing.
Truth in advertising.
I didn't love you, Dr. John. I don't know what I do. I have to go back and play the drums, gents. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank
you very much. That was Tony from the Grecian Express, the dance band here, also the drummer, also the announcer guy. If you kind of noticed, he's a pretty good announcer, boy.
Yeah, like I said, once you give him a mic, you never get it back.
Yeah, I'm just happy to get it back. And, can I use that napkin? Thank you. I don't know what that was, but apparently the Greek fries are very good. Thank you, Tony.
So where were we?
Okay, so what I wanted to find out is these lenses sound every time you introduce new technology, and it's a lens technology, and you have to build something into lenses. Does that mean that when it comes out, it's going to be like a real thick thing until they kind of get down how they can narrow that down to something a little more, thin, skinny, workable, not heavy?
No, absolutely not. The protective properties of the lens contain two things, and they're naturally found in our eye. It's what's called melanin, and melanin is found in the iris of our eye, and what that does is it blocks light from entering our eye. And it also acts kind of as a backstop for light scatter inside of our eye to reduce glare. The lenses also contain what's called ocular lens pigment, which forms in the natural lens of our eye as we age. And that's another blue-blocking component of our natural eye. The problem is as we get older, we also develop cataracts. And when we take the lens of the eye out, we're taking out that natural protection. So what the blue tech lenses do is they incorporate the natural melanin and natural ocular lens pigment into the matrix of the lens, and that's what gives us that blue light protection. And as far as the appearance of the lenses, they're no thicker than any other spectacle lens.
So it's manufactured into the lens, but it doesn't add any bulkiness.
Absolutely not. No, it's more of a filter. You can think of it as a filter, a coloration, a filter for the lens, but it adds no bulkiness.
As a matter of fact, Dr. Morgan has a pair here today. Jerry, where are those at? I mean, just so we can show.
Yeah, we can look at that. And then the other thing is kind of that, what happens to the cost? How does it affect cost, and how does it affect, what happens in turnaround time when you order something like this that's also new technology?
Well, the exact cost, I don't believe has been determined yet. The lens is still to be released. But what I'm told is it's not going to be any more than, say, the add-on for transitions that we just spoke about.
Okay, these are prescription, the ones that you're... Okay, so
I put it up against here. I'll get some white paper.
They have a very mild picture. Look at your computer screen without them and then put them on and look.
Okay.
Without stabbing yourself in the eye.
So I'm putting them on. And
look at the blues and the colors of the lens.
That is really cool, because I would have expected that because I can see a slight tint, that it would have changed the blue so I wouldn't see blue. When I see the blue, it's clearer. It enhances the screen, and it's kind of like looking through, almost polarizing. When I'm looking at the screen, it's almost a clearer image.
Well, now take them off and look at your screen, the difference.
Oh, you know what happens is you get a very blue.
Very bright.
It's not just bright, but everything became a little more.
What that is.
That's a weird effect.
Well, what that is blue light creates what's called veiling glare. And veiling glare is what scatters inside of our eye and makes our eyes uncomfortable. So this greatly increases indoor eye comfort. You know, we have an indoor blue light hazard that's being developed basically because incandescent light bulbs are being legislated out of business or out of production, rather, because of their energy usage. So we're all going to be using fluorescents or compact fluorescent bulbs in our home. Well, those have a high blue spectral emittance, and it's that blue light exposure that drives the development of macular degeneration. In addition, your computer screen on your laptop here, this screen is backlit by fluorescent light. So you're getting a huge amount of blue light that's coming off of that screen. So again, it's the cumulative exposure to blue light over our lifetime that drives the pathogenesis of the disease, drives the formation of macular degeneration. So by having this indoor protective lens, we can now protect our eyes inside. We'll also have it available in sun lenses that are polarized to cut glare and available in both a brown and a gray color.
31 minutes into the hour, you're listening to Healthy Eyes on NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. Get in on the conversation. Give us a call at 480-423-1260. If you have any kind of questions relating to eye care or any of the new technology you've heard about, maybe you're an eye care professional and you have some questions related to some of the technical stuff, like who you would order this through, how you would get this for a patient, how soon does it become available, how come you didn't hear about it first through other channels other than the radio show on Saturday afternoon, any of that kind of stuff. Again, 480-423-1260, the number to call. And we'll do this again at the end, but have someone get a hold of you just in case they can't take the whole hour.
For me, my office is located at 91st Avenue in Union Hills in Peoria. Our phone number is 623-933-6586. And our website is HealthyEyes.com.
What I'd like to say before we move on to something else is, because you just said something about why maybe someone hadn't heard this and why it's not out to eye practitioners all over the country, because this just came out last week. This was announced at the symposium we were at in Atlanta. Blue Tech is a lens that has been, the company that devised the patent and has the lens just signed a contract with the company to market this lens. So it's in its infancy. They don't even have a manufacturer for the lenses, a lab big enough to make the lenses for across the country. They're working on that right now. All the labs are looking at the blanks, making sure they can produce them, doing all their due diligence to make sure that everything will work out right. Once they know who's going to produce what, that'll all be announced. So this is cutting edge stuff. No one is being held out of anything other than we know the technology's there. We know it's in the process. We're just letting people know that that's just one more thing we're going to have in this fight against AMD, because it's going to become an epidemic.
Do people feel that way in your industry, where some people get the information, others don't, and they don't feel that there's a central place to find out all of this stuff? Or, other than maybe organizations that you would belong to and get newsletters and that sort of thing?
I'll let Dr. Morgan answer that in a second. My answer would be no, only because as manufacturers come up with these things, they're going to let everybody know. They're going to let consumers know. They're going to let doctors know. They have no reason not to let people in on the quote-unquote secret, because, the age of capitalism, they want to sell their lenses. They want to do whatever they can to get this out to the public, especially if it's something like this can help the public. And so the manufacturer can't come out and start announcing where these lenses are going to come from, because we don't know yet.
Okay, and Dr. Morgan, did you want to answer that?
Well, I would just add to that, we're in the age of information, and I probably get, 50 to 60 vendor emails a day. So, if you're not aware of new technology arising in our profession, you're just not looking. So.
Okay. And speaking of manufacturers and reps and things like that, we wanted to thank Signet Armor Light for providing 300 of these Kodak eye care kits for us to give away to festival attendees. And if you guys that are out there, there's roughly, it looks like 200 to 300 people right now in the dining hall. If you guys would like some of the free eye care kits, you're welcome to the eye care cleaning kits. No, it's not. It's eye lens.
The lens cleaning kit. I think that gentleman made one right there. Is wiping them on his shirt.
Oh my God! So, yeah, that is actually happening. We're talking. We're about 6 feet away, 10 feet away.
He's scratching his glasses on his shirt. and they're not coming clean.
No, hang on. I got a wireless here. I'm going to take the headphones off. I'm going to walk over. I'm going to actually give this to him. And so he's probably not going to appreciate that I did this. Hi, we're live on the air on NBC 1260 and 96.1 FM. We're doing an eye care show, and notice that you just cleaned your eyeglasses with your shirt.
I did. What choice do I have, Nathan?
So you're here at the Greek Festival, and how's that going for you?
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
What do you think of the festival so far?
Oh, we're having a great time. Yeah, it's great for the community.
Okay, well, here is eye care lens cleaning kit. And you'll be able to clean your lenses with that, and I'll give some to the rest of the table, and just feel free to grab them, and thank you for being here.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you.
No more cleaning them on his shirt.
I don't know. There was just it's not fair that you would find that happening at your event.
It happens more often than you think.
Yeah.
So patients will come in and they'll say, "Why are my glasses all scratched up after a year, 2 years?" And I ask, "How do you clean them?" "Well, I always clean them. I always let them down. I always use one clean cloth." It's always stuff like that.
Did you look at that cloth and tell me, why is this cloth better than using your shirt?
The microfiber cloth doesn't have any thing in the cloth that'll scratch the lens, and it also absorbs oil and dirt very, very well into the matrix of the cloth.
Try that.
Okay, so it is. So it's okay to use. Oh, look at that. It's actually kind of interesting because it's soft. Exactly. Kind of like it's a soft cloth, won't scratch.
It won't scratch your
And then microfiber, is the definition just that it's very tightly knit? Or?
Yeah. You can clean your iPhone with that, or your computer screen as well.
Well, that's actually a really good idea. Now, watch, if I do this, I'm going to say, free iPhone cleaning kit.
There you go.
For Kodak.
They'll come running for that.
Yeah. Cool. There's a couple more, you guys. So what do you think of the festival so far? You have pastries in front.
Of course I do. That's the main reason why I came.
I thought I was going to have pastries in front of me if I can.
Okay, we'll get some pastries. I just realized they have no pastries.
Yeah, they're delicious.
I only came for the food. I get stuck talking about eyes.
Exactly.
Okay, what did you have?
Come for the food, the beer, the ouzo. We come every year. It's a great time.
Fantastic. And you had dinner here.
And dinner.
Well, why did you decide to have dinner inside instead of having like the stuff that they have outside, like the
Later on. It looks like later on. Yes.
You guys dance?
Maybe.
How many beers you have? It depends.
So in beer we have, yeah.
And so do you guys, if somebody is listening, they've never been here before, what should they do first?
I think what they should do first is they should mill around and see what the festival has to offer, and they can go inside and enjoy things outside of the hot weather, or they can go outside and get more into the festive atmosphere. But there's festive atmosphere throughout.
So it's Dobson and Elliott. Was it easy to get to for you guys?
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you. All right. So I've learned something. Thank you, guys. Thanks for being here. We are at the Greek Festival. We're at Dobson and Elliott. And once you get here, you'll see signs and stuff. It's $3 admission for adults. Kids are free. And you may have found free tickets in the Arizona Republic. There's a bunch of free tickets all over the place. We have several bars. We have several different stations for food. It's pretty incredible. And, of course, we have the live broadcast.
So you back from your road trip now?
Yeah, I'm glad, we got the wireless mic system. We're just very fortunate to be able to...
Technology is a wonderful thing.
Yeah. So yesterday, the Good Morning Arizona folks were here. And what was cool is it was before the festival opened. And I know you were out of town on another business trip, Dr. C. And so they had set up, they had some dancers here, and they were shooting the dancers, and Tess Raffles is here, and they made just an incredible plate. They had all the treats, the pastries, and the food and stuff. So Tess left, and there was still food there. Now, I was here very early.
Why do I have a feeling I know what I'm going to hear next?
So I checked out.
Samples.
Samples. So I know I can't go in the kitchen, right? Because the kitchen's off limits. I didn't go through the training or whatever. But there's a microwave, and I got to figure out how am I going to get to this microwave. So I figured out I could get to the microwave if I go around the back door. So I'm in the back door, and I pretended I put on the little hat that the guy wears to get in with the soup guy, and I'm pushing the cart, and there goes the ladies that are preparing. They don't see me getting in. I sneak in. I take this plate. It looks like I'm bringing it to have it washed, but no. I go in the back. I scrape off the stuff, the stuff on the juice. New stuff still looks good, untouched, whatever. Put it in the microwave, heat it up, come back out here, and I'm eating, and I'm like thinking I'm getting away with it. And then as I turn around, I'm setting up the little broadcast booth here. As I turn around, the ladies walk out, I'm just looking over it, and they're just there with their arms crossed looking at it. Didn't get away with that. And there were nothing gets bad. Oh, no. You didn't pay, did you? See? That's the other thing that I posted this on Facebook. This is the weird thing too. Is when they gave pets for Greek salad, the olive had pits in them. And I'm looking over there. There's cheese and there's olives, and you can get a nice sized portion of Greek feta cheese and olives for $3, and it's pitted. And I'm like, how do they get the volunteers to sit there and sit all afternoon? That's why it's such hard work. So I can only imagine sitting and listening to this on the radio and people are going, what's it into? Anyway, it is we are live at the Greek Festival. It is Dotson and Elliott. We'd love to have you here. And how late do we go? How late is the
we go until 10:30 nights, and like Tony likes to say when the neighbors kick us out. We go until 10 o'clock tonight, then 7 o'clock tomorrow.
So just real quick, we'll get right back into the conversation. Some of the pastries that are out there.
All right, we go down this list. Everyone knows the HealthyEyes. That's why Dr. Morgan came. Dr. Morgan did not come to talk about Blue Tech lenses today. I asked him to come to talk about Blue Tech. He heard baklava. He came. Here I am. Yeah. So here it is. When you were over there asking that lady about pastries, you heard him say, that's the only you can hear. The next one's my favorite. Gato Burico. That's a baked custard between thin layers of phyllo dough and a light syrup. If you like custard, they put that inside the thin phyllo dough and wrap it up like a little burrito. But and they put this little Greek burrito, like honey syrup over the top. And I don't eat a lot of sweets. That stuff is great. HealthyEyes are the little semi-sweet cookies that have the anise in them, and sesame seeds on the top. Get curabieres, cariropita, la macarona, pachinaria, all kinds of things that I can't really explain all those, but they're great. You get the Greek sweet bread. It's just bread that has a little bit of sugar in it, and sesame seeds on the top. That's very good also.
You have that stuff also? You enjoy it?
Sure, I'm in.
You don't have it. You don't have any of it. And then don't forget the dinner with the lamb and the...
I'm looking to see who can go get us stuff. I know who can get us stuff.
Oh, Jim can take it.
Okay, I'll get Jim. You keep the show going.
I'll keep the show going, because you got to talk a little more about Blue Tech.
Okay, you keep it going. I'm going to go get Jim and get him to get the stuff.
Okay. So, Dr. Morgan, if we were going to continue to talk about Blue Tech, what can we look for in the future as far as, I mentioned the manufacturing isn't quite set yet. What can we look for in the next couple of months as far as Blue Tech coming onto the market?
Well, I think that it will be a fairly quick launch. There's definitely a need for this type of lens for our patients. The lens will be available in single vision, bifocal flip-align, as well as progressive bifocal. The progressives will be in the newer digital design that I think you've talked before about on your show,
right?
That are easier to use. And again, these lenses are not just for people that have macular degeneration. These lenses are for all of us that may be at risk for macular degeneration.
Or under exposure to a lot of blue light.
Exposure to blue light for those that, say, have a family history of macular degeneration, for those that have a light complexion. Those folks are at a higher risk. So, really we need to, if you think about safety glasses, it's always been that in manufacturing, you're worried about getting a physical injury to the eye. So you may have to wear safety glasses before you go onto the production floor. Well, if you think about our society now in America, most of us are working in offices. But we're in offices working under fluorescent lights and looking at a computer screen that's putting out blue light. So I can really see a day where we might start to think about these Blue Tech lenses as our safety lenses for being in the office. And maybe you don't walk into the office without your safety lenses on.
Right. We had talked about that last week too, and I mentioned that if this becomes something that we view as necessary in society. I could definitely see employers wanting people to wear these just for fear of workers' compensation claims if it comes out that we find that there's a lot of exposure to this.
Dr. Morgan used a phrase that was a little scary, and I didn't want to kind of delve into it, but you talked about an epidemic. Is it really an epidemic, and how does that...
well, when we talk about the number of people that will be affected, definitely. I mean, right now, macular degeneration is more common than Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, and breast cancer combined.
Really?
Yet we don't hear...
We haven't heard anything about that stuff. There hasn't been a walk about it.
Right.
There hasn't been any of that.
Right. And it seems to be taken for granted that as we get older, we're just going to, it's expected that we're going to lose our eyesight. Well, that's clearly not the case. And especially with the baby boomers, I don't think that generation is really going to stand for being isolated in their homes because they can't, they're unable to see. When we look at this is really a public health issue, because when we look at what happens to people with vision loss, they have twice as many falls. They're admitted to nursing homes on average 3 years earlier. They have 4 times as many hip fractures. This is a huge cost to our healthcare system. We think we're, pinching our pennies and nickels now with healthcare. Give it another 10 to 15 years when we see the full effects of macular degeneration. That's really what we mean by the coming epidemic. And, unless we do something about it, take preventive measures with either lens technology, and we've talked before about the carotenoid supplements for the macula to protect our eyes, we're not going to be prepared. So that's our key, is to get the message out.
Okay, and the supplements that you talked about, there are only a limited number of them, right? Actually, there seems to be only really one supplement that should, it's an all-in-one kind of thing rather than giving multiple supplements to someone. Is it that one company's cornered the market, or what? How would you define kind of the situation from a business perspective as to what's going on with that product?
Well, when we talk about eye vitamins, if you go to High Health or Walgreens, you might see 15 or 20 different things that are eye vitamins. However, they just put pastry in front of me. I lost my train of thought.
You're saying something about vitamins. I don't know.
These look good, but not nutritious. But in any event,
I see them very well.
A lot of these.
Look, in a minute, we'll talk about it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say a lot of these vitamin supplements are, they're based on the age-related eye disease study, which shows that certain antioxidants may have a 25% reduction for progression of disease for those patients that already have the disease, but only if they have an intermediate stage, meaning they've already been pretty significantly affected, or severe disease. Those with early stage disease or without disease, really the vitamins didn't have any help for. When we talk about carotenoids, again, think of macular degeneration as an oxidative process. Another oxidative process is rust. So when we get macular degeneration, it's like the back of our eye is getting old and rusty. Well, we have a built-in rust protection in what's called our macular pigment. It contains carotenoids, but they have big names. They're mesozeaxanthin, zeaxanthin, and lutein. But those act to form a shield against blue light entering our eye that can cause that oxidative rusting of the eye. Right now, there's a lot of things that have lutein in them, a few things that may have a little bit of zeaxanthin, but there's only really one product that's readily available that has mesozeaxanthin in it. And as it turns out, the mesozeaxanthin is the key to protecting our eye. That product is called MacuHealth. And for people that are interested in learning more about it or using the product, and I recommend this for my patients that are at risk for macular degeneration, even in those that have it, you can go to a website called nomoreamd.com, and that's where you can find the MacuHealth supplement.
nomoreamd.com. And that supplement is one pill once per day.
One pill once per day. And you can...
And will it reverse the effects? I mean, it's like painting over the rust after you've tried to...
No, it's really just building the protection that we have. The carotenoids really serve two functions. Number one, they block blue light from causing oxidative damage, but they in themselves are potent antioxidants. So that oxidation that does occur in the retina, if you have a healthy layer of macular pigment, those free radicals will be neutralized. And the good thing about taking these carotenoid supplements is that over time, you will build your macular pigment in your eye. They absorb into our blood serum and they are deposited into the eye.
Interesting. Okay, back to the pastries. So we're looking at, John, I got to get your help because my in-laws make this stuff. It's delicious. And I never even stopped to pay the attention of what am I eating. It's just delicious stuff. I mean, I should learn the names, but I know baklava because it's a triangle. And then you got the one that's got some walnuts on top.
That's Garigobita. Garigobita is a walnut cake, basically, but they make it more like a cookie. It's like 2 inches long and make it a cookie. These are the Chrisagis, which is basically the anise cookie. And the baklava, as you know very well, with phyllo dough and the nuts and honey, and very nutritious. It's got everything it does, all basic food groups are involved in baklava.
So what was the stuff that's in that?
These are Chrisagis.
Okay, and what's that?
Anise is a licorice.
You got to watch how you
hang on, I'll tell you.
Okay, you take a bite. What crunches is that?
Now those
anise.
Coffee. Coffee. Yeah. It's like licorice. Coffee in the morning.
That's what I was going to. It's like black licorice, right?
Yeah. It's got the licorice in it. Kind of like ouzo.
Have anise in it. Would you ever have them together?
Sure you could. But I mean, why waste a nice big cookie like that with ouzo? You do use one to have with ouzo. You need to have some olives that.
I was thinking of it the other direction.
And so. But the other thing in the variety pack, they also put the mellow macaron on there, which is it's a cookie that's sprinkled with chopped nuts and it's honey dipped and it's lightly spiced with it's got anise in it too, but not as much. It's actually all good stuff.
Wow. Okay. And so, how long does it take to make this kind of stuff, and why don't more people make it?
It's very time consuming to make all this stuff, and so the ladies started making this 4 or 5 months ago. And they'll come in on a weekend and they'll make a batch of the Chrisagis and then they freeze it. Then they'll come in, they'll make a batch of mellow macaron and they'll freeze it. And they just do it. They'll just have different work days on Saturdays throughout the year. But it's all homemade. Yeah. The only thing we don't make, again, truth in advertising, the only thing we don't make homemade is the baklava because we just can't make enough. And you can't make enough and it takes too long to make it. For those of you that have had it that way, but this is the best we've found as far as, store-bought baklava. It's very good.
Okay. Well, again, we are at the Greek Festival. It is a Taste of Greece, and we're at Dobson and Elliott. It's $3 to get in, and it's got to be one of the best values in entertainment. I know there's a lot of stuff going on this weekend. And does it make sense to actually go to more than one thing? At this particular weekend, absolutely. If this isn't the primary thing that you go to, like let's say that you happen to have maybe tried some salsa somewhere, or maybe you went to a gun show somewhere, or maybe you did any of these other things that are great to do, it still makes sense to come by, even if you just wanted some of the food and you went to the drive-thru. Or if you wanted to just come in and take a quick walk and take a look at some of the vendors, there's everything from really cool jewelry and clothing and items that you just really can't find anywhere else, not even the internet, which is, I mean, if you could, it's probably going to come from like a country that's going to take a long time to get to, and they're going to like market it as a gift instead of, it would be so expensive. I'm going off on a tangent.
Yeah. I can't even follow you.
So you are listening to HealthyEyes, by the way, and we're here every Saturday afternoon from 2 to 3. And Dr. John Chrisagis is the host of the show. And John, you are with Tempe Eyecare Associates. Talk a little bit about your practice and why it would be good for someone to potentially come in and see you, besides for the fact that you were the one nationally, and we were the show nationally, who brought the consumers this information before anyone else got it, even news media.
Well, it just so happens that Dr. Morgan and I were lucky enough to be at the conference last week in Atlanta. As a matter of fact, Dr. Morgan had a speaking engagement there. I have to be on a panel with him, but he had a much bigger role than me. But that's where they announced the Blue Tech lens, and so we just happened to be there for that announcement. And being as, let's just say, an early adopter as he is, he's just going to take this and run with it. And when I heard about it, I asked him if he wanted to come on the show and talk about it so we can announce it. So we are ahead of the curve as far as this goes, but as soon as they announce its availability, I'm sure most other eye doctors are going to want to get in on it, only because it is going to be a viable part of the fighting against macular degeneration. As far as, again, we talk about genetic testing, so we can have early detection. We're talking about the blue tech lens to keep the blue light, the high energy blue light out. We're talking about the supplementation with Active Health and whatever else we have to take to do that. There are all the different technologies we have in our office. And as far as Tempe Eyecare Associates, we have the technology to be able to do all that stuff, and we are taking it seriously only because, again, macular degeneration is due to the cumulative effects of all these things. So if we can catch it early, we've always talked about the first eye is the most difficult one to catch because you've got your other eye that will kind of cover for the first one. And once you lose vision in the first one, it's easy to note vision loss in the second eye. Well, if we can catch the first eye by doing all these different things and save the first eye, that's just going to make it that much better. And we're just going to be, what we're worried about is as we all age and as the sheer numbers increase, we're not going to be able to keep up. And so early detection is the key.
And Dr. Morgan, how do your patients benefit? You also have a practice here in Arizona, in Peoria. Okay, and how do your patients benefit from you being not only the person who's hearing about all this stuff, but actually communicating that to everyone else in the country?
Well, I hope my patients benefit by the fact that we try to be cutting edge. We try to do the newest things for prevention of eye disease. Because my practice is located on the edge of Twin Cities, we have quite a few patients that have macular degeneration. And I can tell you that over the last 12 months since the genetic testing has become available, we've probably saved, we've done 120 genetic tests, and out of those tests, I think we've saved 4 eyes from losing eyesight.
Wow.
Because knowing that person was at a high risk, we were able to monitor them more frequently and catch the wet macular degeneration forming before it affected their vision. In fact, a patient of mine went on Channel 12 NBC, and we did a segment explaining how we saved the vision in his first eye, as Dr. Chrisagis was mentioning. We live in a great era as far as the drugs that are available to stop wet macular degeneration. And one drug in particular, Lucentis, it's the most prescribed drug in the United States right now. It's also the most expensive drug in the United States right now. And unfortunately, it's the least effective drug in the United States right now, simply because by the time somebody presents for treatment, most of the time, they've already lost vision in their eye. So then we're just fighting an uphill battle, and the patient may go through a couple of years worth of treatment, and in the end, they still have a blind eye. Yet if we catch the first eye through genetic testing and frequent monitoring of patients, now that medication becomes highly effective because when it's caught early, that medication saves sight in, I believe, about 92% of eyes.
Wow, 92% effectiveness.
If it's caught early. If it's not caught early, then the studies show that it's not nearly as effective.
Okay, we have just a minute left. So I just wanted to go over again, Dr. Morgan, how do people get a hold of you if they'd like to either ask some questions or maybe even make an appointment to see you?
Again, our office phone number is 623-933-6586. Our website is HealthyEyes.com. And in fact, there is a section on our website where you can submit a question that we will answer for you.
Okay, maybe we'll have you answer questions on the interview. Okay, and Dr. C, phone number, website real quick?
409674910, and the website is www.tempeeyecareassociates.com or drfee.com.
drfee.com. Thank you very much for listening. Again, the Greek Festival, Dobson and Elliott. Hopefully we'll see you here today and tomorrow, and we'll see you again next week on Healthy Eyes.
NBC 1260 is KBSZ, Apache Junction. Also operates on translator K241BQ at 96.1 FM.